like it's related to zebra since it has those stripes there on its legs. However, it's not a zebra relative at all. It's the only living relative of the giraffe. Okapis are generally very reclusive, and because of that, they were not discovered by Westerners until 1901. Prior to that time, they were thought to be a mythical creature. Only locals knew better, and they never told anyone. Now, if you look across the way, up on top of that hillside, you'll see a glimpse of a black rhino. I'm not quite sure how good of a view we're going to get from here on. Black rhinos are generally solitary. Unfortunately, they are also very endangered. There are less than 5,000 black rhinos left in the world today, and those numbers are still dropping. That's primarily due to poaching for their horns, even though their horns are only made out of keratin. And keratin's the exact same thing as what your hair and fingernails are made out of, so technically it's not even a true horn. I'm going to see if we can get a better view once we start going up the hill over here. And nothing that I can see. Alright, no worries. Hopefully we'll find more rhinos later on. Now also though, if you look over on the left on that hillside, you'll see the bongo. Bongos generally stay in very dense vegetation where they blend in very well with their surroundings. And because they blend in so well, they can be so difficult to see, they've earned themselves the nickname the ghost of the forest. Also, if you look in that clearing, you'll see a lighter colored species laying there. That is the greater kudu. Those are females there. I could tell that because they don't have any horns, whereas the males do. But also, only females gather in small groups. Males are solitary. We're heading in the direction of the Sapi River, so we're going to stop over that way and see what's going on. Usually anywhere where there is a source of water is a good spot to look for animals. And it looks like right up ahead there's a hippo taking a nap there. Just right there out on the banks. Hippos are amongst the largest and are the most dangerous animal in Africa. That's because they have incisors that reach lengths of 18 inches long, and they will use those for defense. Hippos generally stay submerged in water during the daytime. That's to keep from overheating. They are a nocturnal species, so it's nighttime when they also come out on the banks and graze. Those birds that are right there in the middle are pink-backed pelicans. They're only pink during mating season though, and they do nest in some rather large colonies. It can be anywhere from about 20 pairs all the way up to about 500 pairs. That is one of the few bird species that will nest over water. Most birds avoid doing that. Right over on the banks there, right beneath us, that is the Nile Crocodile. The Nile Crocodile is the largest of the crocodilian species in Africa. They can reach lengths of up to 20 feet long. Quite a few crocs out on the banks right now, but there's also quite a few crocs there in the water. A lot of times when they are in the water, all you see at the surface is just the eyes and the nose sticking up, but they can also stay fully submerged underwater for hours at a time. The Nile Crocodile, like all reptiles, is ectothermic. That means that they have no internal means of generating any sort of body heat whatsoever. They rely completely on their environment for that. That's why they are frequently found sunning themselves on the banks of waters during the daytime. It's just in order to warm up some. Right up ahead is one of the more unique trees found out on the reserve. It's called a baobab tree, also known as an upside down tree, because it looks like it has its roots coming right out the top. But it's actually just leafless right now, and it'll remain that way for about 9 months out of the year in order to conserve water. Usually when folks think of wild Africa, this is more the area that they're referring to. This is the savannah. A lot of the animals out on the savannah rely on speed and agility in order to escape predators. The cattle that you're seeing are the Ankole cattle. They're also known as the Watusi cattle. That's after the Watusi tribe, which first domesticated them about 2,000 years ago. They're the only domesticated species found out on the reserve because they do generally live side by side with wildlife. So they're right at home out here with all the other animals. The horns on those cattle are rather impressive looking. They grow to about 3 to 4 feet in length. And because their blood vessels run throughout those horns, it acts as a cooling system for the cattle. Keep an eye out over on the left here. I saw some movement through the bushes. Those are African wild dogs, also known as the African painted dogs. Now, they're generally found living in packs between 5 to 15 adults, plus any pups that there may be. They're led by an alpha male and an alpha female, which are the predominant breeders out of the group. Please remain seated. Remain seated, please. Fully seated. Thank you. Now, the African wild dog is most active in the early morning and early evening hours. So right now they've just woken up from an afternoon nap. They're considered the most successful hunters out on the savannah, with a success rate that far exceeds that of any big cat even, because they hunt as such an organized pack. But they're also one of the few species that will care completely for their pack, even tending to any sick or injured members of their pack. The antelope over on the left there is the Sable Antelope. Very majestic looking species. They have horns that can reach lengths of up to 5 feet long. Females have the reddish brownish coat. Males tend to have more of a dark brown to almost even blackish color. And those coats do get darker as they get older. The grayish colored herd here is the white-bearded wildebeest, and the wildebeest is one of the animals best known for its migration. Not every wildebeest herd does migrate, but out of those that do, it'll be about 1.5 million individuals. They'll be making a trek every year between about 500 to 1,000 miles, and they'll do that just to follow the rains to get to greener grasses. In African, the wildebeest is just simply known as new. All the towering structures you see all over the savannah are termite mounds, home to millions of termites. They've got their very own ecosystems going on inside of there, where they've got everything from a nursery for the little termites to the royal chambers for the termite queen. They've got their own fungi gardens towards the bottom. They'll even dig wells so that they have a source of water inside of there. Really quite fascinating structures. They can be over 30 feet tall in some areas here in Africa, but on average they're about 8 feet tall, which is still rather impressive considering that it is a tiny little termite that built those mounds. Another one of the Ankole cattle here. Look at the thickness of those horns at the base there. It can be up to 20-inch diameter. Those horns look extremely heavy, however, because it's more or less like a honeycomb type of structure on the inside, it's not as heavy as what we would imagine, although it's not lightweight by any means. Right up ahead is the Tower of the Maasai Giraffe. That is generally what a herd of giraffe is referred to as, is a tower. Giraffes, of course, are the world's tallest animal. When they're first born, they're about 6 feet tall. Currently 3 baby giraffes out here on the reserve. Fully grown adults are 18 to 20 feet tall. Giraffes do have very good eyesight, which when combined with that height, gives them a good advantage here because they can see everything going on out on the savannah, including seeing anything lurking in the taller grasses. They are, of course, well known for that long neck of theirs. It's composed of only 7 vertebrae, the exact same number as what's in your neck.
Diciembre, casi seguro que son mis primos.
Keep an eye out over on the left for a troop of mandrills, the largest of the monkey species. Males have bright blue and red markings. The brightest one would be the dominant male. There's a female over there. Also, the other one looks sort of like a juvenile. Females do weigh about 30 pounds or so. Males, however, can be upwards of about 100 pounds. Mandrills in general can be a very shy species. Even amongst themselves, they can be somewhat shy. Look to the right. There's an African elephant. Just came out from behind those bushes there. And both male and female African elephants do have tusks. Herds are made up of females and juveniles, and males like that one typically leave the herd and go out on their own by the time they're about 12 to 15 years old. It's the males that are known as bull elephants. Alright, right now though, we're going to head on over towards the other side of Savannah. It's a bit of a bumpy road to get there. Not too far to go though. And definitely well worth all these bumps, because with any luck, we just might be able to find a herd of elephants along the way. Herds are led by the matriarch of the family, one of the eldest, the females. She'll be one of the ones with all the knowledge and experience in the area. And she needs that because she controls all the movements of the herd. The matriarch will usually lead the herd somewhere around this area. And one of the reasons why she would choose this area is all this right here. This is red clay. It's a very important mineral supplement for elephants. They use their tusks to break off a piece and then they'll eat it. You can see those tusk marks right there on the walls. Some footprints here in the ground. Now let's see if we can find the elephants. Looks like right up ahead around all those trees and bushes. Now, elephants can have a lot of conflict issues with local farmers. They do sort of like to raid the crops. It's like one big all-you-can-eat buffet for the elephants. But fortunately, our researchers discovered elephants are afraid of bees. So now local farmers plant beehive fences. It'll not only keep out the elephant, but the elephant will also communicate to all the other elephants in the area that, hey, there's bees over there, you don't want to go there. And they will all stay away. So now local farmers not only have safe crops, but they're also able to sell elephant-friendly honey. See some dirt on those elephants' backs there? They are using that as a natural sunscreen. A lot of animals use either dirt or mud for that purpose. Let's check out the rest of the herd up here. I'll get a better view of them from across this pond here. These, by the way, are greater flamingos. Greater flamingos, not only the largest of the flamingo species, but also the palest pink. They get their color from their diet. They eat a lot of brine shrimp and other crustaceans, which are very high in beta-carotene. When flamingos are first born, though, they're not pink at all. They're pale gray. You can see some pale gray flamingos out there by those trees. Those flamingos are only a couple of months old. They've grown up very quickly, but it's still going to take them a year or two of eating that brine shrimp before they get all of their pink color. Now keep an eye back at those elephants there, because you might be able to see that little baby elephant in the middle of all them. The elephants sometimes get a little bit protective of that baby elephant if they feel like it's getting stressed out or anything. But I don't think they're going to actually let us see it right now. The whole herd is one big extended family. Every elephant is related. That antelope right there is the Bontebok. They've got a beautiful cinnamon colored coat that has sort of a purple gloss to it. It's a very unique coloration. That animal, though, was almost hunted to extinction, in part because of that coat. It was the early 20th century, and it got down to 17 individuals left before the locals decided they really liked that animal and that they were going to save the ones they found on their lands. Fortunately, though, they did do just that. And today, because of their efforts, the Bontebok's once again thriving. But they're still only found on protected lands like this reserve. Now this right here is cheetah territory. Look right on those rocks. Cheetahs are the fastest land mammal. They can reach speeds of 60 miles an hour in only 3 seconds. But they can only sustain that for a couple of 100 yards. There's a few things really unique about cheetahs. First of all, they're the only cat with non-retractable claws. That lets them keep real good traction when they're running so fast. They also hunt during the daytime, tracking their prey by sight, not scent. Very unusual for a cat species. And they're the only ones out of all the big cats that can purr. Now there are two more cheetahs up here. You can see how much better these ones are blending in with their surroundings. The spots do give them a variety of camouflage ability that they can blend into leafy areas as well as just the dirt there. They often blend in very well, except for if they're like sunning themselves on a rock. Even in the grassy areas, they blend in so well. Now these rocks here are known as a Covey rock formation, and these types of formations give very good vantage points for animals to see everything going on out here. Looks like white rhinos right up ahead, but right now look back at those rocks. Or a pride of lions right there. We'll see those rhinos as we go around the next turn, but if you're taking pictures, look at that one right there. Now it's a male lion that defends the territory, protects any cubs that there may be, while the females, the lionesses, are the ones that do the hunting at night. Lions are nocturnal. They spend about 16 to 20 hours out of every day just laying around, resting and sleeping. There's not usually a lot of activity out of them until later on in the evening. And then it's usually a little ways after sunset when they can not only be most active, but also a lot of times that's when they'll be most vocal. Little family of warthogs right here. Warthogs are the largest of the burrowing animals. You can see their burrows there on the hillside. Whenever they are in those burrows, they're always facing that opening. Lets them see a little bit about what's going on out here, but it also puts those tusks right there at that opening, just in case they get any unwanted visitors. Ostriches right over there, even though they are birds, are far too heavy to be capable of flight, but they can run about 40 miles an hour. An ostrich egg's underneath a tree right up ahead. Each egg weighs about 3 pounds, equal to about 2 dozen chicken eggs. Now you may notice hiding behind that tree stump over there in the middle, that's a water bug. The water bug drinks an unusually high amount of water for an antelope species because of that they're only found living around sources of water. And then lots of the white rhinos all hiding out right now. White rhinos are fairly social, so they are usually found in small groups. Unlike the black rhino, they're also the larger of the two species. Black rhinos weigh about 3,000 pounds. White rhinos are about 5,000 pounds. Now rhinos have very poor eyesight, so even at that close distance, it did not see us clearly at all. But it's got very excellent hearing, along with the ability to rotate each ear independently. And by doing that, it can hear everything going on all the way around it. This bird right here is a yellow-billed stork. Beautiful bird, a little bit of a pink tint to its feathers. Another one over there at the waterline. Now those birds are quite the little carnivores. They will eat just about anything that they're capable of catching. And that even includes other birds. That one over at the water is probably getting ready to do some fishing there. Now we're on our way back to the village of Harambe. While you're here in town, be sure that you check out the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. Lots of animals to see out that way, including the western lowland gorilla. You can get another view of an okapi, see the endangered Grevy's zebra, There's a family of meerkats, some birds, some reptiles, some naked mole rats, great big old African bullfrog, and hippos with an underwater hippo viewing area, among other animals. And be aware that all the trails throughout the park do close today at 4:45. Looks like it's about 3:45 right now, if I looked at my watch correctly. Also, if you have not yet hopped on that Wildlife Express train over to Rafiki's Planet Watch, the last Wildlife Express train departs Africa at 4:30, so you don't want to miss that. Over there is where you'll find our veterinary clinic and nutrition center, conservation station, and also an affection section where you can pet some domestic species, and also you can meet Rafiki and Doc mixed up.